So by the end of this session, okay, so we will discuss what channels to consider when this digital display marketing is considered, when targeting customers and beneficiaries, the best time to reach your target audience, how to best determine the frequency and timing of email marketing, how to introduce mobile marketing by considering location and text, how could you better utilize the attributes gained from TV and radio, how and why you should consider social for reach, impact, and managing potential pitfalls, and how to integrate creative design platforms to better produce elegant and beautiful design variants. Okay, fantastic. So next slide, please, Ben. Okay, now by considering the big idea, which may be a well-established project, what your organization is running could give you a solid idea to tell a story for your audiences. For instance, if your firm is running a food bank, you may want to be able to interview certain people, right? Certain clients and certain brand ambassadors, whether they be employees or volunteers, to receive an idea and gain factual data, non-text data, which you can later transcribe and use as factual text data to document and use and to write a case study on, or you'll be able to participate in a videography and gain document their conversations. And you'll be able to get a further understanding of their perceptions on the project. And if certain, you'll be able to use their information to produce an effective strategy. You could get a creative strategy by utilizing this particular project that you're currently working on. Now, there are stages to create this creative issue to consider your campaigns. Now, your tone is going to be crucial, like I mentioned earlier. Depending on the audiences you have, you will need to change the tone of language and the terminology. So if you're targeting younger demographics, then certainly you will need to bring in the type of terminology they tend to use the most. Yeah, or if it's more older demographics, so certainly you can look at the terminology that they tend to use the most, or which online spaces they tend to use the most, and you'll be able to analyze their sentiments on, for instance, their comments online and how they tend to react online, and this is how you'll be able to get a reaction from them. Okay, but it is crucial for you to dig in and mine for the data, yeah, so you can get to know your audiences more. Okay, your tone of voice across all social media channels should be similar and you should try and automate your content way in advance by using scheduling tools like Hootsuite. Okay, that's Hootsuite, Buffer, and Correlate. And they do all have free versions, so you can use the free version, but the free version tends to be a limited time. So you may need to sort of invest or inject some cash into using these platforms, and it could certainly support you in developing trust and with your audiences, and it will save you a lot of time by automating your content. You should consider whether you want to produce content that is provocative in nature or programmatic. Okay, so certainly by doing that, you will be able to tell a story more to your audiences and essentially ignite a reaction from your audience. Whether you may want to appeal to people for donations, or join an employability scheme, or by joining a food pantry scheme, that will certainly depend on your messaging and your actual scheduling content way in advance. Print could certainly support. Print media will be adverts that will be sent either through the post or advertised on billboards or displays. Notice boards can also be one. Now many organizations that have large budgets tend to advertise on buses, trains, and other transport, because that's where people tend to travel the most. Or they will have a campaign where they're distributing leaflets at a fair or an event, essentially to gain brand awareness and increase the brand identity over time. Now that will certainly depend on your activities and your reach and how you endeavor on increasing your brand and your reach to your audiences. Okay. The call to action for different channels and media platforms do differ significantly. Okay. So the messaging that you use on Facebook compared to Instagram and Twitter may vary. Okay, but certainly do mine for the data. So the more you trial, the more you sort of see and check the data, the more you'll be able to determine which channels and which messaging has more of an effect on your audiences. Okay. For instance, when using YouTube, you should certainly consider editing content using editing softwares that will captivate your target audience instantly, and as well as bringing thoughtful and realistic to your audiences. So by telling a story or your messagings that you are trying to portray. Okay. Next slide, please, Ben. So the question to consider, to whom are you writing to? And also identity. So think carefully about what you will offer. Your offer is crucial. Okay, so certainly refer back to your projects that you're doing at the moment for your organizations, and certainly look at the, like I say, the big data, and that will be, well, it will certainly give you more emphasis and direction for your project, and also it will enable you to identify your core target audience. You'll be able to build a pen profile on them by considering your age, their gender, their marital status, their occupation, the demographic. That would support you in building a profile on your audience. Okay, you can create a profile of your audience, right? And you can gain further detail from YouGov, and certainly build a persona canvas which you can stick on a notice board and always refer back to and look at, and certainly get an idea of your potential pen profile. You should consider these questions. So consider your target audiences. It would support you in reflecting on your objectives and outcomes for your campaign. Okay. Next slide, please, Ben. Now, your proposition, the promise you make to your audiences, it should emphasize your audience's current state of mind and present a resolution to their issues and problems. An emotive message and tone of voice is crucial. Okay. Now, you could certainly use what is already in the news and what is already in the public domain to your advantage. Your current projects that you're running at your organization will certainly be what your audiences are currently exposed to, which you can certainly use. Now, the offer outcome will offer your results to your audiences, whereby you will be able to evidently and insightfully see the change their input has made. So you'll be able to get further understanding by making this proposition to your audiences from early a clear understanding of their intentions and how they can certainly use your services, and certainly how they can benefit from purchasing your products. By using emotional language, you would be able to build a relationship with your audiences. Emotional and language that is in nature, humor in nature, will certainly catch your audience's attention. Okay, so but you have to fish for their attention. Now, it has been highlighted by Les Bennett and Sarah Carter, creating strong positive association that make people warm towards your organization and brand, bring emotional matters more than the messages. So use distinctive brand assets like employees or volunteers who are your brand ambassadors, and tell their story so that people can better recognize your brand without thinking. Okay. Next slide, please, Ben. Create a great creative brief. What's your proposition? Back up your promise by making testimonials and case studies as social proof. Determine how your product and services can resolve their issues. Set yourself targets or key performance indicators. Set yourself targets or key performance indicators and marketing objectives. Okay. By setting targets, you can estimate how many community-based assets you would like to target. By gaining by being specific, you will be able to better reflect on filled outcomes and objectives. For example, increasing, so for instance, on a project that we'll be working on A2, we had a target of referring for a project for MoneyWise Plus to increase the subscription from to 30 people. So you can set yourself a target, for instance, a daily target of 5 to 11 referrals per week, or increase the number of students, or increasing the number of students going into further education or apprenticeship, as well as pass rates. Now, these can be specific goals that you could integrate, or you could set yourself clearer objectives by integrating and using SMART objectives. So being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And certainly agree these objectives with your supervisor and work with your colleagues to certainly get a clear understanding on the direction you would like to take. And start by using business objectives. So if you have an understanding of your business objectives, so for instance, target for sales, service users, and referral rates, that will give you clearer direction on that. So target, to certainly look to do that. Okay, now set key performance indicators for each objective and start tracking them and evaluate your results against key performance indicators, and also how KPIs, key performance indicators, can certainly give you more of a clarity of direction. And in the next slide, I will show you an example of how to make a plan. And next slide, please, Ben. Okay, get more. So for instance, objective number 1, get more customers, refer more by increasing brand salience, which is your customers being top of mind for your brand, and deepening the emotional connection by creating Leicester's most watched, loved, and talked about community organization. Okay, or Leicestershire. Okay, now you could do that this is where you will do that. And these objectives are very clear and strategic in nature. Okay. Next slide, please, Ben. So to develop your theme for your proposition, you need to determine what your big idea is, okay, for your campaign. To satisfy your brief. So you would like to address a specific age category or a demographic. Okay, you may need to sort of gather further details from social demographics, and that will give you further emphasis, and also psychographics information as well. And that will certainly give you more of an emphasis on, and also integrating ethnography as well. Certainly, that could give you a further development, and videography tends to be very popular among young demographics. Offer the customer and beneficiary value, so personalizing content based on data sets. So whether you certainly can look at your Facebook data, or whether any online space you might be on at the moment for Facebook for Business can certainly give you further information. Now, where you can also mine for further data is by going into your sentiment again, like I said earlier. Now, according to TAP et al., who's a social media expert, there are two variants of data sources that employees can revert to by using internal and external company records. So like I said earlier, your internal records are crucial. Your external records are also crucial to your development and to your actual campaign. Your campaign will certainly be will need to run on data. So how you can gain further data is by, there's a number of ways you can do that. The public domain one. Number two, census data. Census data normally can be gathered from the ONS or other data sets, data organizations that gather data and publish online. And you can gain this privately. Okay. Most data sets are internally sourced within the organization as defined by Kotler and Armstrong in 2015. Okay. And next slide, please. Thank you, Ben. So develop your theme. So bringing the idea to life, express your idea as simple as possible. Okay. Use media that matches your customer's behavior. Measure the effect of your campaign and feedback and learn. Compare and look at where the campaign successes and failures determines where. Okay. Next slide, please, Ben. So again, so you can certainly determine on your look at your KPIs to certainly give you a clearer idea on your project, and also in terms of the creative and contents, each campaign will require different content, and you can automate this well in advance to give you the advantage. Okay. A single creative idea can be used across multiple channels, but take different forms in each channel with text, image, video, or user-generated content. You could reshare whatever content your users have also posted online. The campaign plan will detail the creative content required for each channel. And your target audience is any variation required. So, for instance, if you're selling a specific product online, free postage and package can certainly be one emphasis that your customers would like. They would like that, yeah. And feel free if you have any questions to raise your hand. and you can come in at any time as well. And yeah, feel free to do that. Now, sales loyalty programs are also great as well. You don't want to alienate your customers, so certainly offering them a loyalty program will certainly be crucial to your brand development with your consumers. And certainly campaigns, exclusive campaigns, and exclusive sales for your community can certainly be something that will excite them and create anticipation for them. Discounts as well tend to work really well. So if you're specifically selling a actual food pantry, or you're selling bespoke products designed in-house, then maybe you would like to tell them about the story of how this product was designed, or how it was made, and certainly offer maybe free packaging, or again, buy one get one free. These are the the caveats that your consumers need and should certainly be exposed to if you would like to increase your sales. And next slide, please, Ben. Now, I referred back to I referred back to messaging. Now, messaging is crucial, and it is the specific copy that is used to deliver the desired actions from your customers. Okay, so your customers, this content, your content is based on the customer's needs. Okay, and you advertise this to your consumers, and you'll be able to understand their behaviors online by data insights. And also you could personalize the content to their actual languages they're using online, the sort of terminology they're using online, and also have a clear call to action as well, which is known as the CTA. Okay, and it's certainly just abbreviated to CTA, and to ensure the ultimate campaign objectives are achieved, and including a range of different options. So what you could do is share content, read reviews of your customers, so if the reviews they have of your product, and also write a review. You would also persuade them to write a review of your project. Feedback of so surveys are crucial for your gaining and understanding, and gaining further perception and attitudes of your consumers. So certainly you can get that through website, through the setting a survey on a website, or and then certainly publishing your reviews, so that your future sales can see exactly and what your business is, and how much their trust could increase, and this will certainly build to the relationship. Okay, and also persuade them to watch a video that you've created as well. So maybe reposting, providing content, and also asking them to maybe leave their contact details, so that you'll be able to offer them, make them a special offer on any sale campaigns that you may have, and this will give them the chance for them to get the latest offers, and you can keep them long term because you've kept them loyal by offering them some of the latest deals. Now, what we're going to be discussing is what is customer engagement. Okay, you can engage with your customers in a number of ways. Next slide, please, and I will detail this for you guys now. Now, to give you some background, customer engagement in marketing is increasing awareness and increasing reach with your customers, generating leads through online, through Facebook, through sales, by cross-selling and upselling on different platforms. Okay, And creating user-generated content, so creating reviews from your customers, developing new products or services for your customers. That's going to be crucial to your reach and your engagement with your customers. And developing new projects is crucial. Again, I'll re-emphasize that. Increase engagement, and this can be done through through advertising on online spaces. Re-emphasize on that again, because that is going to be crucial to your SEO ranking. And your website's ultimately going to grow on search engines by creating regular updates on social media and the social networking sites. Okay, now I will discuss the format into how you could certainly advertise to your customers. Next slide, please, Ben. On a regular basis to your audiences, and how you are going to tell a story. Now you can do this through photos, visuals, and you have to be flexible and linear. Non-linear with your photos. You could do graphics, and I'll detail this further with you guys in the next coming slides. And text images. Just a moment, please, Ben. If you go back to the previous slide, text, images, design, and branding. Your logo is crucial, so your logo will also need to transform over time to certainly show the development of your brand over time. Video is going to be crucial, whether a short video, 3-minute video, or either a long video. But normally with different age demographics, they tend to have different attitudes towards watching videos. So this would certainly bring your story to life. By also filming raw content and using editing softwares, which I'll certainly discuss with you guys, which you can use. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. So now, we will have a, I will set this group activity for you guys as homework. Now you can do this. So obviously, I will share the slide with you guys. And certainly have a look at this. Again, like I did say in a previous session, I'm not going to be policing your homework. It's based on your own intentions and your own attributes and how much learning you want to do. So certainly look at this objectives, and certainly work in your groups to certainly develop a strategic, smart objectives. Okay, next slide, please. Now, in terms of case studies, like I mentioned earlier, case studies are and contributors to your organizations. Okay, now to tell a story, you need to find out what is currently happening in your organization, and gain an understanding by doing this for your organization. And this is good for your ethos of your organization. Now create your own brief, determine what your brief is going to be, how many audiences you want to reach. You can be very specific with this by reverting back to your SMART objectives. You can gather the data as well through online spaces to certainly use as a catalyst to gaining further information and data for your audiences, from your audiences. Next slide, please. Now, the format you can use is obviously photos, videos, as I said in the previous slides. This is just, again, a flow just to give you further insight on how you could potentially show your campaign. You can use images, graphics, design variants. You can do A/B split testing and advertise 2 different variants and automate them and see which variant tends to sort of get the most traction and the most and from people's attention, what tends to get to people's attention. And you will absolutely need to revert back to the holy grail of data and use that to certainly give you a clearer direction on which variant is performing the most. Next slide, please, Ben. So I'm going to discuss now photography. So a picture tells 10,000 words. So yeah, a picture does certainly give a picture. If you depends on how you look at it, I look at a picture, I may have a different perception to what you may have, and definitely I'll have a different sentiment to what your sentiment is. And certainly this is the current conversations that people are having on Instagram, Facebook, and other social networking sites. Next slide, please, Ben. So these are an example of current images. So for instance, as you can see, Street Mediator project, it happens at E2. It's a funded project by the Police Crime Commissioner. As you can see, sometimes you can take pictures from the back. You don't need to necessarily show your face. If you have an individual or an asset of an organization, that could be a potential, that is a brand ambassador for your organization. You certainly may not need to take a picture of their face, but you can maybe take a picture of their back. That may be a sort of their preference, and that's what you can certainly do over time. Okay, or you can certainly take pictures when they're in action, when they're conducting their work, and then certainly that would certainly give you, you can add a text, as you can see in this Street Mediator design. This wasn't designed by myself, but in this picture you can put a caption in and certainly show to your audiences how and what this picture is, and how you could communicate further to them over time. And this will build to their perception over longer periods of time. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. Now, using smartphones is crucial. Okay, so you can, it's easy to use. Okay, if you have your own smartphone to your disposal, why not use it for your own work purposes? But do get consent from your supervisor or manager whether you are able to use it. It's always easy to use. You can, majority of smartphones have high quality cameras. They have a range of different apps that you can download, which I'll discuss with you all in a moment, which are different softwares, apps that you can obviously edit the picture. You can change maybe the saturation or the blur of you can change the contrast of a picture to make it more crisp for your audiences to see. Some audiences may have maybe watching it on a desktop rather than a smartphone, so definitely editing the photograph will give you an advantage of your audiences. Yeah. Okay, so, and also by sharing it directly online. And next slide, please. Thank you, Ben. Okay, now smartphone positives are they're easy to store, they're low lighting, the lens, you can certainly, different smartphones have different lenses, and you can certainly definitely change the position of the camera, and also the battery quality tends to be a lot better. You can charge it quicker, and that depends specifically on the iPhone or phone or Android device you may have, and certainly look at maybe using a smartphone to grab stories, or use them for your Instagram Reels, or any sort of particular strategy, or TikTok you may be using, or particular strategy that I may be using on a social networking site to communicate out to your audiences. But certainly smartphone tends to be the most effective ones, and there is desktop apps that you could potentially use, like Snapchat. It's in desktop, you can use it with filters. There's different filters as well that you could potentially use as well on current social networking sites that are app based on smartphones. Next slide, please, Ben. So now you can see the difference. If you take a picture on an iPhone or an Android device, this is just an example of an iPhone, the exposure, you can certainly change the way it looks by changing the saturation, the contrast, or the actual blur. Now you will have to play around with the picture, and certainly there isn't a right formula. You can build your own formula to give you guys the perfect solution to that particular image or that video that you might be changing the view of. Next slide, please. Okay, now the lighting, again, as you can see in this picture, maybe you might need to use lighting as well in some pictures. So maybe taking a picture in the light, if it's sunny outside, if you want to utilize the lighting in inside spaces, that will be something that you will need to be mindful of when taking pictures. Do certainly take that into consideration. You can increase the lighting of a particular image by using apps that you can certainly use to develop the picture. So yeah, next slide, please, Ben. So yeah, as emphasized, re-emphasize on lighting again. As you can see, if you take a picture in the dark and you certainly change the lighting of it, but you can use the apps again to change the lighting of it. Okay, so next slide, please, Ben. So you also get a zoom effect on a number of cameras. If you'd like to zoom on a particular image, you could certainly do that. You can use the ultra wide, or the telephoto lens. If you're using a camera for your project, then certainly use the different formats to your actual photograph that you're taking of your audiences. I will definitely consider this. Now, again, it's a trial phase, it's a testing phase, and this is a chance for you to gather data and utilize that data and gain a further understanding of what your consumers are watching the most, and to identify and to determine the right possible solution to your actual project. Next slide, please. So on iPhone, there is a specific setting, which is the EA and AF lock, which you can certainly use where it's a manual lock that you can certainly grab focus on a particular image, whether you're using that or using an Android device. You can certainly use that to get a crisp image of your particular project that you may be working on, and it will support you over time in grabbing the right image as well. Next slide, please, Ben. Thank you. Now, the background and blur portrait mode is also, this is another image on iPhone. Particularly, you can sort of change around with the saturation and the blur. Adobe Lightroom, so you could potentially use that as well to sort of play around with the saturation, the blur, and it will give you, you can find out what the right solution is. You can also use Canva. Canva will give you that option, and we will go into detail into Canva and how you could particularly use that, the software. There's a free version to Canva. Majority of the images are already preset. You can go into stock images as well, so you can go into Shutterstock. For instance, some of their images are completely free, or you can also purchase some of their images, and they don't tend to cost a lot. And this is something you could do and further your advantage in the market as well. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. Now, these are photo editing apps that I'm going to share with you all. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. Firstly, Canva. Canva is, again, free to use. And also, if you would like to buy pre-designed apps, pre-designed photos or design variants, you may need to pay for them. The prices for elements to use may cost you as well. There's free versions, there's free variants of designs that you could potentially use. Again, that will be totally dependent on you if you would like to use that, but certainly budgeting and estimating your budget in advance on what you would like to use could certainly give you a clearer direction on how much you would like to spend, but certainly do that by certainly investing and potentially looking at the data to determine how that investment has come and how that investment has become, has it brought in any incremental profit. So you need to look into that. That's if you're specifically going into detail by raising extra income through online spaces. Next slide, please. Now you can have a look around on the designs. So this is the front page of Canva. So you get social media, you get personal. So social media, there's specific sets to use, like Instagram stories. Once you have signed up and you create an account, you can launch the account, and it will give you clear instructions on how to use it. So the website is very detailed, but just for me to give you a clear emphasis on it, you could play around with it by editing your photo, and also by editing the actual picture, the design, the colors that you're using, the elements of the designs. There's different presets as well. There's Instagram posts, there's Facebook posts, Facebook covers, YouTube art, and LinkedIn. But certainly if you would like to use something similar for all platforms but in a different format, you can certainly incorporate this into detail. There's also the personal, business, marketing, education, and trending as well. And yeah, this will give you a competitive advantage as well, and it will give you certainly more of a way to certainly communicate out to your audiences. Okay, so definitely bring this this app into your social media strategy, and it will certainly give you that added feature in being distinctive within the market. Next slide, please, Ben. So to create a post, okay, so you could start by creating a Facebook post. Facebook tends to be the social networking site that many people tend to be active on. Okay, so when you open Canva, select Facebook or Instagram stories, or certainly YouTube art. At the top of your screen, once you have selected a blank workspace, so that's a blank workspace, you will appear in the center of the screen, as you can see. You'll get a blank workspace, and then on the right, on the left-hand side of your screen, you will be able to see some samples and layouts that you could potentially use. So Canva has an auto-populated a blank screen for you, so you can start dragging in any potential elements that you want to use, text, backgrounds, and that you would like to incorporate. You can search for any sort of gifts that you would be interested in, you'd like to potentially use. So there's also the format of using video captions, video designs, variants of video posts, but you need to edit this and have a play around with it. And then once you've advertised it, again, Facebook will certainly gather that data for you already, and it's a case of you just analyzing it and maybe using histograms to advertise and show how your campaign has been, to give you a clear emphasis on the evaluation of your campaign. Okay, now Canva enables you to completely customize your post by changing the featuring image to ones you had used previously. Now, if you'd like to use pre-made designs, that's completely your choice. Okay, you can just need to edit it to your liking and to your actual flavor and how you'd like to use that. Okay, now it is next slide, please, Ben. Thank you. Now it's important to get the sizes right and the dimensions for each social media networking site. Canva would auto-populate this for you already. Now therefore, for instance, for YouTube, you may need to sort of find the most specific thumbnail for your video that you're creating. So Canva will preset this for you. So all you would need to do is edit it and bring it and upload it online. Next slide, please, Ben. So again, these are just a snapshot of the current dimensions for Facebook cover photo, Twitter header, and YouTube art. Okay, so if you do not like the template, you can completely customize it yourself. Yeah, so you would change maybe the font, the color, Yeah, you'll maybe change the different elements of that particular post. Okay, and other additional elements that you that are not featured, you can choose and add in. Okay, so grids enables you to divide up your design and insert various images. Okay, so certainly do bring that into your marketing strategy, and this will build towards your brand image, and certainly this will support you in your endeavors. Next slide, please. Canva has a wealth of high quality images you could work with. The pictures are organized well, and also there's folders that you could also look at. They're already stocked images, and some of them are free, some of them are costs attached to. You can also spot the folders and obviously search through the folders to identify the best picture, depending on the business that you or the project that you're working on, or the actual seasonality of a particular product or service that you're selling. Canva has a search bar that allows you to search for specific images. Okay, there are a huge amount of free photos for you to choose from, so a wide range of images. Now, the starting prices tend to be from £1. Okay, so there isn't a significant cost caveat to it. Next slide, please, Ben. So unleash the artist within you. Canva's main feature includes text insertions, color palettes, filtering, transparency, and branding. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. Now, inserting texts are very simple, as you can see in the image. So you can insert by clicking, drag and dropping your image. You can change the color of them. You can change the overlay, and you can also change the opacity as well. Now, to text of your images, that will give you a better sort of clearer for your image. So a call to action combined with a photo or a visual will certainly give your audiences, encourage them to share your post, yeah, or they can react to it, resulting in exposure of your organization. So certainly introduce a call to action in Canva. You can certainly edit that text to whatever call to action that might be for you. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. Now refine your color palettes. Okay, guys, so the Canva has a wide variety of colors for you to choose from, but it would practically be your choice to choose your primary colors for your organization. So choose a distinctive color palette that will allow you to customize for your customers and your clients. Okay, and to recognize your content across social networking sites. So you'll have a regular content and you'll have similar color palette through all social media campaigns. Next slide, please, Ben. Okay, so using filters is crucial, and Canva offers a variety of filters that are customizable. Okay, they can change the visual and automation of your photo. You can have a play around with it, okay, to distinguish the best filter for your visual. Next slide, please. Thank you, Ben. Now, how to advertise a case study is very simple. Okay, you can maybe get few captions from a case study that you've gathered, or a case study that you've written on a brand asset or a brand ambassador of your organization. and use their image and certainly make it look like in this way. And you can use Canva to design it. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. Okay. Stats and texts. So within this specific stat, if you did not know, an Instagram post that at least has almost 12% of engagement, yeah. So in Instagram, so including a hashtag is going to be crucial as well, and 70% of external users between the ages of 56 to 64, they tend to sometimes be on online spaces throughout the month. So you could certainly utilize from this stat, and this stat is from Statistica. It certainly give you an understanding of how a clarity of your actual audience and how you can bring that into your regular strategy for your business. Okay. So next slide, please, Ben. These are other platforms or apps you could potentially use to advertise and communicate to your audiences, and to be strategic and digital. If I were you, I will definitely use all these. So Adobe Lightrooms, like I mentioned earlier, Adobe Spark, you could use that, and Canva and Snapseed. Okay. There is a cost caveat to them, to use their premium versions, but the free version, if you feel you could certainly use the free version, and it will give you, it will save you costs. So if you're a low budget organization, then certainly it will give you more of a sort of advantage over costs to use. Okay, and next slide, please, Ben. So if you're trying to film content on social media, so for instance, for videos, taking videos, you can use these gadgets, these accessories. These accessories, like you could certainly purchase them on eBay, YouTube, eBay certainly on, or sort of you may already have them at your disposal. Or you could certainly use yourself, by just tucking your elbows into your chest or into your body, and holding a camera really well, and not maybe moving too much, and that could be your tripod. So you may certainly want to invest in a tripod or a microphone to use while using your smartphone. You can grab images, you can grab content, you can create stories, like I said earlier, or you can advertise regularly in real time to your audiences. Certainly your audiences you will certainly check on insights how often your audiences are online, and then using that data to regularly post online to grab their attention. Okay, next slide, please, Ben. So smartphone filming tips will be to film landscape, zooming. You could also zoom while using pictures, when using a smartphone. Also, certainly put your phone on airplane mode when using video, when recording videos, to save battery, and also no calls as well. So obviously switching off, putting it on silent, or putting it on no calls, or not to disturb. And this will certainly give you the chance to just get the right image, the right picture, without any disturbances. Take your time by breathing and filming along long clips. Yeah, it can certainly be overwhelming, maybe, by grabbing the right image or the right video, but you certainly need to take that hurdle and certainly grab the right image from the project to eventually give you the skills that you could certainly use for future, for your own sort of business you might want to start. or your own entrepreneurial endeavors. Okay, so take it slow and be inspired with your movement, and also multitask. Yeah, take pictures and videos as in that time. Yeah, next slide, please. Thank you, Ben. Now, this is just a reading list. You can buy these books. You can get these books. Yeah, and you can probably get. You can listen to these books on online. But these books will certainly give you more of an idea of into social media marketing, and certainly maybe endeavor on investing in these books. Next slide, please, Ben. So, guys, thank you very much for being on the today, for coming on. I really do appreciate you all.